This is the latter part of our study guide to the exam. I wanted to make sure I explained it through as thoroughly as possible. So a couple things you do have to remember is what the point slope form looks like. That's this equation right here. Y minus a y value. So that's the actual number you plug in. This is a variable, it doesn't change. But this is the y value for whatever point they give you, equals m, the slope, times x minus the x value they give you. So x and y are variables, they're going to stay x and y. x1 and y1 are the x value and the y value of whatever point you were given. So you'll plug numbers in for x1, m for the slope, and y1. And the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So those should have numbers in the end of the problem. But it's common on these that you'll have to actually start with the slope-intercept form and then work your way to the slope-intercept form. So 67 is a good example of that. It's a line that passes through 5, -1, with a slope of -3. So again, I'm using this form right here, the slope-intercept form. Point-slope form. So I do y minus the y value they give me. So y minus -1. So minus and negative is the same as plus, and it's fine if you just write y plus 1 from the beginning. But if it helps you to do y minus -1 and then write it, that's also completely fine. The slope, the m, is -3, so that's why that goes there. Then we do x minus the x value they give us, 5. So from here, there's really just two steps. We have to distribute the -3 into both of these pieces. So -3 times x is -3x. -3 times -5 is positive 15. Then to get y by itself, we have to subtract 1 from both sides. So we end up with y equals -3x plus 14 is our final answer. Okay, on 68 we'll follow the exact same pattern. We'll start by plugging in the point and the slope that they give us into the point-slope form. And that may sound repetitive, but that's because the name of the forms actually helps you know what to do. They gave you a point and a slope, so we should use the point-slope form. So we do y minus the y value, 3, equals the slope, 1/2, times x minus the x value they gave us, which is 6. From there, there's just two steps. Distribute the 1/2, 1/2 times x, 1/2 times 6. And then to get y by itself, we add 3 to both sides. Now in this particular one, it actually cancels out that completely, which is fine. So you can write plus 0 if you want to, but you certainly don't have to. The answer will be y equals 1/2 x. Now what's different about 69 is they don't give us a slope, but we always have to have a slope to form a line. They give us 2 points, in which case we can use the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 is 9, y1 is -3. So y2 minus y1 over x2, 7, minus x1, 3. So 9 minus -3 is really 9 plus 3, that gives us 12. 7 minus 3 is 4. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. There we go, 3. So now we do know our slope. So if you remember, the first two we've done, 67 and 68, we were given a point and the slope. Well, in this one, we had to find the slope, but now we have 2 points. And that's why I wrote this here. You can use either point. It doesn't matter if you use the slope of 3 in this point, or if you use the slope of 3 in this point. You'll get the same answer either way. So truly, you can just pick which one you want. I just picked this one because it was first, but it's fine if you pick a different one, or this one. So we do y minus -3. So that's why I just wrote plus 3, because minus a negative is the same as plus a positive. Equals the slope, which is 3, we just found that, times x minus the x value, which is 3. Same two steps as before. We distribute the 3. 3 times x, 3 times 3. Then to get the y by itself, we'll subtract 3 from both sides. Negative 9 minus 3 is negative 12. Okay, number 70, we're supposed to write a line with these two factors, this slope and this point, in all three of the forms we've been given. So point slope form, we work with a while, at least on this video. So y minus the y value, y minus 8, equals the slope, negative 2, times x minus the x value. So it's minus negative 4, which is the same as plus 4. So the point slope form really is that straightforward. You just plug in the point, plug in the slope, and you're finished. Now, to work from the point slope form to the slope intercept form, we've done that on the past few problems. So our first step is distribute the negative 2. Negative 2 times x, negative 2x. Negative 2 times positive 4 is negative 8. So the y minus 8 is still there, and we've distributed the negative 2. To get the y by itself, so we're in the slope-intercept form, we have to add 8 to both sides, and that happens to cancel out that negative 8 over here. That won't happen often, but it did on this example. So our slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, so we have y equals negative 2x, meaning the slope of this line is negative 2, and the y-intercept is 0, because that's why there's no number over here. Excuse me, because the y-intercept is 0. The last step is to get this into standard form, which means we have the x value first, or x term first, the y value second, equals whatever constant number without a variable we have over here. So to do that, we just need to add 2x over to this side, so the x and the y are both on the left, just as you see here. So that gives us 2x plus y, and since that canceled out completely, that means our c, our constant, is 0. So that would be the standard form for number 70. Okay, 71, write the point slope form of an equation for the line that passes through 0, negative 7 with a slope of 3. So while this hasn't been our final answer in the past few problems, this is just in line with what we've been doing on the first 3 or 4, where we just plug in the point and plug in the slope. So we do y minus the y value. So y minus negative 7 is the same as y plus 7, equals the slope, 3, times x minus the x value, which is 0. So we just write x minus 0. And it's that straightforward, that quick, when they ask for the point slope form. 72 is the same. We're given the point negative 1, 3, and a slope of negative 5. So we do y minus the y value, which is 3, equals the slope, negative 5, times x minus the x value. Since our x value is negative 1, we do x minus negative 1, which is the same as x plus 1. And you don't have to do any further work than that, because that is the point slope form right there. And if you happen to write x minus negative 1 and leave it, I'll still give you full credit for that. That's fine if you write that. Okay, 73 changes our method here. This is write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line parallel to the graph of y equals negative 2x plus 5 that passes through 5, 3. So this is still giving us a point and a slope, but we have to make sure we can find the slope, because the slope of a line is its coefficient in front of x. So this is not our line, it's just saying we're parallel to this line, meaning if the line they just told us goes this way, our line also goes that same direction. They have the same slope. So we know our slope is negative 2, our point is 5, 3, So we're going to use the point slope form, just like we have in all the others. Y minus the y value equals the slope, -2, because parallel means same slope, times x minus the x value. We distribute the -2, -2 times x, -2 times -5. Then to get y by itself, we add 3 to both sides and end up with this as our final answer. Okay, 74 is the exact same process. We're parallel to this line. Parallel means same slope. Parallel means same slope. I'm repeating myself on purpose for emphasis. Parallel means same slope. So we do y minus the y value equals the slope, -1/2, times x minus the x value. So x minus -3 is the same as x plus 3. We distribute the -1/2, -1/2 times x, -1/2 times 3 is -3/2. And you can use your calculator for this. To get y by itself, you need to add 8 to both sides. -3/2, you can type in -3 divided by 2, plus 8. You can either get the fraction form, 13/2, or the decimal form, 6.5. I would accept either one just fine. So 73 and 74 gave us parallel lines. 75 gives us a perpendicular line. So perpendicular means the opposite reciprocal. Opposite means different sign. Reciprocal means you flip the fraction over. So these are two good examples. The slope of this line is -1/3, which will look something like this. A perpendicular line would go the complete opposite direction and form a 90-degree angle right there. So to get a perpendicular slope, we flip the fraction over from 1/3 to 3/1, and we change the sign, in this case, from negative to positive. So we have the point, 3, -2, and we're able to find the slope by flipping over that slope, the fraction, and changing its sign. So then we do y minus the y value. Y minus -2 is y plus 2 equals the slope, 3. You can write 3/1 if you want to, but it's just 3. X. Oh, I made a mistake here. Crud. Well, I'll fix it right now, just for you guys. So x minus the x value, which, as anyone knows, that's 3. So this should say x minus 3. Bump. Sorry about that. So now let's distribute that 3. 3 times x, 3 times 3. And then subtract 2 from both sides. So that cancels, leaving just y. And then we have 3x. -9 minus 2 is -11. So that's the correct answer. Sorry, I had the wrong one posted before that. So this is worth double checking that you put the y and the x from the point in the correct places. 76 is very similar. We're given a perpendicular line. So y equals 4x minus 12 looks something like this. Then we need to find the line that is perpendicular to it, meaning it forms a right angle. So a perpendicular slope, this slope 4 can be written as 4/1. So we flip over that fraction, making it 1/4, and we change the sign from being positive to negative. So now we do the point slope form to start with. We do y minus the y value, which is 2, equals the slope, -1/4, times x minus the x value, which is 8. We distribute the -1/4. -1/4 times x. -1/4 times -8 is +2. Then to get the y by itself, we need to add 2 to both sides, giving us y equals negative 1/4 x plus 4. So parallel means the same slope. Perpendicular means opposite, meaning a different sign. Reciprocal, meaning you flip over the fraction. 77. Consider the 2 lines below. Are they parallel, perpendicular, or neither? So this is where you have to remember the definitions. Parallel means the same slope. Perpendicular means they are opposite reciprocal slopes, flipped over and change the sign. If it's neither, then it's neither. So one option when they give it to you like this is you could rewrite these in slope-intercept form, meaning y equals mx plus b, the format that 76's answer was in, because then you can see the slope very easily and compare them, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But a slightly shorter way you can use, if they're in let me back up. A slightly shorter way is if they are in standard form, which these are. You've got the ax and the by, the x and the y term on the left, the constant, the number on the right. Then you can do negative a, meaning make the number in front of x negative, divided by b, meaning you divide by the number in front of y. So that's what I did. For the top equation, I changed that positive 4 to a negative 4. And I keep the negative 7 just the way it is. So I change the sign of the a, the number in front of x, but I keep the sign in front of b, the number in front of y. So negative 4 over 7, I can cancel out the negatives and say it's positive 4 over 7. Here I change the sign from negative 8 to positive 8 and divide by 14. Now this fraction can reduce because they're both even numbers. Divide 8 by 2 and get 4. Divide 14 by 2 and get 7. So these two lines actually have the exact same slope. So that means they are parallel. Okay, 78. We're talking about correlation. We're trying to say, is there an overall pattern of things going up over time or down over time? Now this one you can't really tell because you could draw a line through these points and say down, but then there may be kind of an upward pattern too if you look at these points. And when that happens, that means there's no correlation. There's no relationship between them, so no correlation at all. However, here hopefully you can see the pattern that overall these points head downward. So that's a negative correlation when it seems to have a negative slope. So to describe it, you say as the number of whatever is on the horizontal axis, the x-axis, so as the number of McAdenville family attendees increases, because if we go to the right, they're increasing, the number of families at home, that's the vertical axis, the y-axis, decreases or goes down. So as we move to the right, the values go down. As McAdenville family attendees increase per hour, because that's what happens when we go up, 20, 40, 60, 80, the number of people at home is decreasing. Last two are very simple and straightforward. It says find the inverse. Inverse just means the x's and the y's switch places. So you can see I literally just switch places with the x and the y on each of these points. So you just reverse the points of these. These can be very simple, so don't let them overcomplicate. Just remember inverse means the x and the y switch places. Same on 81, they're just written as a table. So we switch it from x being negative 7 to y being negative 7, from y being 17 to x being 17. Same all the way down. So instead of putting negative 4 first, we put 12 first. Instead of put 0 first, we put 2 first, and so on. Good luck, guys.